Welcome back to the third video of Data and Formula Integrity. In this video we're going to talk about green triangles and data validation. Here we're back to the same example as we've been using, this March travel expenses. And first I want to talk about these green triangles. And these green triangles are basically Excel's way of telling you or notifying you that there could be an error or there is an error or something's inconsistent. So let's say that it's talking about a formula, and you've probably seen this if you don't grab an entire range and let's say there's things above here, like there is now, and let's hit enter. Here it pops up a green triangle or a caret or whatever you want to call this. And if you just hover over it, over this exclamation point, this is Excel basically telling us that the formula in this cell refers to a range that has additional numbers adjacent to it. And that'll let us know, okay, we need to look at this formula a little bit closer. We'll open it up with F2, drag it back up, and it's complete. Or then sometimes you'll see, like, I don't know if you use queries or downloading from databases a lot, but sometimes databases don't always flood into Excel that cleanly or nicely, and you have like amounts or values that come in as text. And so they'll kind of look like this, random numbers, and they'll have the green carets. And Excel in this case is saying, hey, this number in this cell is formatted as text or preceded by an apostrophe. So if we go into it and hit F2, you'll see there's that apostrophe. I'm going to hit home and hit delete and hit enter, and I deleted it, right? Well, it didn't work. So you go back and you hit delete and you do it again and it's still there and you're thinking, what in the world is going on? And then you remember, oh, well, these cells can be formatted as different things. So right now it's formatted as text. So if we put in general and hit F2 and hit enter, still nothing. Okay, so what can we do? An easy way I find is just to go to this, select the entire range first, then go to the error message, hit the down arrow key or the down arrow button, and say convert it to a number and let Excel kind of worry about it. And I usually just double check and actually I'll just change it to a comma. So now you've changed it. So that's green arrows or green triangles. Now let's move on to data validation. And let's pretend that we want to validate that this cell can only be, or these cells can only be yes or no. They can't be like a maybe or something like that. So to make sure that a person is using either yes or no, we can do this by going to the Data tab and going into Data Validation. And actually, before we do that, let's select this entire range that we want to validate. So each and every single cell here needs to be either yes or no. Let's go to Data Validation and then hit Data Validation again. And you'll get this dialog box that appears. And it says the validation criteria allow, and it's set by default all of these cells on this page to any value. So there's a bunch of different things that you can tell Excel to validate these cells by. You could say, I only want a whole number in any of these cells. It has to be, an even 1 or an even 2. There's no decimals. Or you could say decimals. Or you could say there's a list of things. So this would be like saying, hey, the only options are yes or no, which is the option that we're going to choose. Or it must be a date, a time, a text length, meaning it's if you have a big like open-ended box that says, hey, you can enter in only 150 characters in length, or you can customize your own. But let's do list, because I find that this is the most common and useful that I've come across in these types of work settings. So list, and for the source you can either select like a yes or no that you have off to the side and it'll reference these cells, or you can type in yes, comma, no, and Excel will figure out and say, oh, they're saying it can either be yes or no. So let's hit OK, and now you see that this down arrow appears. So it can either be yes or no. It's as simple as that, setting this function up. So let's type in maybe, and Excel brings up and says that this value that you entered is not valid. So you can retry or cancel. And now your data has integrity. People can't go in there and manipulate it on their own. They have to put in a yes or a no value.